John Cogger, sporting a much shorter haircut than usual, leads Oldham out on a beautiful sunny afternoon here at Watershed. Last home game of the season, and I suppose barring a miracle or two, facing next season in the second division. Castleford come here today after losing their way somewhat following a tremendous start to the season, and in fact have now lost 7 games in a row. As the rugby leaguer says about today's game, Oldham almost made it to survival and Castleford came within sight of their first ever championship. The trouble is, neither of them succeeded. This may well be true, but I'm sure today's game will see total commitment from both sides. Oldham hoping against hope to score some points, so that if Bradford were to lose tonight, things will become very interesting on Wednesday evening. Oldham coach Tony Barrett today juggles the players yet again, much as he and Eric Fitzsimons before him have been doing all season. Today he moves John Henderson to number 6 and Paul Round to centre, in a bid to inject more speed and strength into the back division, to quote the Oldham Chronicle. While Leo Casey is preferred at prop to Ian Sherratt. Castleford are without Kevin Ward, Giles Boothroyd, while Bob Beardmore has finished for the season. And of course their Australians have gone home as well. The first meeting of the season back in September saw Castleford triumph by 22 points to 19. Yet another of those games that with a bit of luck Oldham would have won. Interestingly, both teams have only 6 players left from that game in late September. The teams: Oldham, number 1 Duncan Platt, number 2 Paul Lord, number 3 Paul Round, 4 Gary Hyde, of course ex-Castleford, 5 Steve Robinson, 6 John Henderson in a very unaccustomed role, 7 Michael Ford, 8 Neil Clawson, 9 Andy Ruane, 10 Leo Casey, 11 Sean Allen, 12 Keith Newton, 13 and captain John Cogger, subs 14 Ian Bates and 15 Trevor Croston. Castleford, number 1 David Ruckley, who so very nearly came to Oldham, number 2 Tony Marchant, number 3 Mark Gibson, number 4 Neil Batty in the starting lineup first time for a very long time for Castleford, number 5 Chris Chapman, 6 Grant Anderson, a leading try scorer with 22 tries this season, 8th in the lists, and number 7 Roy Southernwood, number 8 Martin Kettridge, 2nd in the rugby league goal kicking table with 113 goals this season, 9 Kevin Beardmore, 10 Keith England, 11 Phil Murphy, 12 Paul Crabtree, 13 the ever youthful John Joyner, and subs 14 Wayne Thornton and 15 Terry McAllister, 17-year-old who's just had a handful of games, and that's a small hand as well, of 18 games, hoping to make his debut today. Referee for today, Mr. Haig. What wind there is, I would think just about in Castleford's favour, going to their right hand touchline. Paul Round at centre, which I'm sure will be interesting to say the least. Referee A gets the game underway. Castleford through Ruckley, bring it out, where he's taken by Allen. Kettridge One of a few goal-kicking forwards in English League. John Cogger Harrison. Kick down to Steve Robinson. Taken by number 10, Keith England. Duncan Platt to act in half-back, ready to take the first clean-up run. Meets a man or two before he disappears under a lot of yellow shirts. Mike Ford. Rings Keith Newton. Well tackled just in his own half. Neil Clawson. Away from England. Taken by Beardmore. Mike Ford. Kicks. Taken at the second attempt by Paul Crabtree, who knocks on, so it's a scrum down. Oldham head and ball. When Mike Ford can get hold of a ball, that is. Referee certainly telling the front rows what he wants. 4 round picks up, feeds John Henderson. Henderson gets away from Anderson. Duncan Platt in the line. Andy Ruane feeds Neil Clawson. Up into the... Gets the ball away, picked up by Mike Ford. John Henderson. Mike Ford, John Cogger coming round. And just caught by his shirt neck by Keith England. Andy Ruane kicking for Steve Robinson. And finds a good touch, a couple of yards out from the Castleford line. So it'll be a scrum 5 yards. 5 yards out from the try line. Southernwood into Newton. Kettridge. Neil Batty. Taken, Leo Casey just unable to rip the ball out. I think that'll be a penalty against Leo Casey for a tackle being a little bit too much upstairs. Interestingly, the referee's not given the penalty where the offence was, he's giving it where play stopped. Kettridge to touch on the far side. Takes Cass 8 yards into the Oldham half of things. Beardmore to Joyner to Kettridge. Kettridge taken by Newton and Casey, and Cogger keeps a look, watching brief. Casey penalised for holding down. Kettridge is going to have a kick at goal. Been playing about 4 minutes. Kettridge kicked 113 goals this season. A leading First Division goal kicker. Only Aston of Sheffield Eagles in front of him. Takes his time, doesn't worry about the crowd. Right-footed. Misses, and what's more, Paul Round takes in his own in-goal area. Looks to pass to Steve Robinson, but wiser counsel prevails, and then Oldham receive a penalty for Round being held down as well. Not releasing, I think, is the referee's indication. Duncan Platt wastes no time putting the ball to touch. Still 15 yards in their own half. Leo Casey on the dummy run, Neil Clawson. Taken by Kettridge. Leo Casey. And a lot of heavy treatment from his opposing front row. Mike Ford. Sean Allen. Mike Ford picks up. Steve Robinson. Feeds Andy Ruane. Cogger. Henderson. To Newton. That's 5th tackle. Andy Ruane to kick for the left hand side. Marchant dives. And he's taken by Hyde and by Lord. Gibson. You'd expect really Cass to rely heavily on John Joyner and Kevin Beardmore. Joyner at first man. Back to England, who's taken down by Ruane. Kick coming in from Ruckley. Bounces nicely for Duncan Platt. Comes back. Quickly to his feet. Mike Ford. Away from Southernwood, but the forwards close the gap. Neil Clawson. Pass out in the tackle, but Andy Ruane not able to benefit from it as much as he'd have liked. Mike Ford hangs on, so there's no way that can be an obstruction. And referees wipe that. So it's 6 more tackles. Casey. I think that's going to be a penalty to Oldham somehow. Kettridge getting a little talking to from a referee. No Platt to put the ball to touch, been playing 8 minutes. Only real chance of a score is a penalty to Castleford, which Kettridge put wide of the left-hand post. Oldham on with it again through Ruane. Casey. Switch of direction, Cogger. Mike Ford at first man. Feeds Sean Allen. Was stopped pretty dead by Murphy and Kettridge. Leo Casey. Quickly up. Ford. Henderson. To Hyde. Hyde taken well by Marchant, coming in off his wing. Ford. To Allen. Ball covered up in the tackle, unable to get it out. Quickly plays it. Hoists a high kick from Ruane. Everybody looks onside from here. Drop out under the post. Fine high kick from Andy Ruane, causing problems in all directions for Castleford, and he himself just unable to benefit. As Castleford scrape the ball away. Oldham keep the pressure on. Kick out, bounces again nicely for Duncan Platt. Platt, arcing run, looking for somewhere to go through. But Castleford probably desperate for a win. Neil Clawson into the 25. Ford, Henderson to Newton. Cogger from acting halfback. On to Andy Ruane. Takes the ball up 10 yards short. Ford to Cogger. Cogger checks. Unfortunately, he's lost the ball in that. A bit more lucky to have gone to a red and white hand. Castleford bring the ball out. England taken by Casey and Ruane. Doesn't seem to be a great amount of love lost between Mr. England and Leo Casey. Ruckley with a kick down towards Paul Lord. One nice bounce and then a shoot. Lord with a bit of space to move in. Taken by Marchant and Gibson. Platt. Neil Clawson running straight and hard. Taken by Murphy. And Crabtree. Ruane kicking early for the left-hand touchline. And the groan of the crowd tells its own story. Not enough angle on it and it goes over the dead ball line. So it'll be a tap 25 to Castleford. England taken by Newton and Clawson. Southernwood to Murphy. Good pass out in the tackle. Takes Castleford up to halfway. Southernwood kicking for the far touchline. Well, Anderson receives treatment. Or he's offered treatment. Hold his right arm as though it looks as though it hurts. Mike Ford from acting halfback. Dummies to John Henderson. But he's taken by Anderson and Joyner. Allen. Ford. Floated past to Paul Round. Early ball to Steve Robinson. Does well to take it. Get away from his opposite wingman. Paul Round pushes off one. And then does well to stay in play. And a tackle from Batty. Ford. To Henderson. To Allen. Allen checks, comes back. Links to Ruane. Ruane kicking for his favourite left-hand touchline. Finds touch, 5-6 yards into the Castleford 25. And gets a round of applause from the Oldham crowd as well. Been playing about just over 13 minutes, still no score. Scrums are certainly looking different today. Southernwood. Marchant off his wing, taken by Clawson. Kick coming in early from Ruckley. Forced to check. Gets himself a better angle. Paul Lord races back. And the bounce just beats him to touch. Pushing Cass up into the Oldham half again. Mike Ford comes away, feeds John Henderson. He's taken by his opposite number. Ford from acting halfback. Makes a few more yards. Duncan Platt positions himself and feeds Neil Clawson. That's way one way from Clawson and the other. Knocked down just as he was trying to link with Gary Hyde. Henderson. Out to Platt. It's taken before he can get into his stride. Charged down by Castleford. Gibson comes up with the ball. Feeds England up the tight side. Makes a few yards before he's stopped. Kettridge. Joyner, short ball to Murphy. Good tackle from Allen. Anderson kicking. Referee not interested in that as any form of obstruction, however much Anderson likes to fall on the floor. Platt initially, then round. Leo Casey. Neil Clawson a little bit wider. Only making a few yards. Leo Casey looked a bit high from England. Kick coming in from Duncan Platt. Platt for the left-hand touchline, Marchant waits and takes. Up as far as Lord. Who hangs on as Hyde. And Allen knock him down. Gibson looking busy but not going very far. Oldham penalised for having two at the marker. From this angle it looked as though Neil Clawson was on his way back. Obviously not fast enough for referee Haig. Kettridge to touch again. Up to a 25 yard or just short of a 25 yard line. Beardmore to England. England not the biggest of props but certainly gets to a prodigious amount of work. Southernwood to Crabtree. Ruckley with him. Fortunately for Oldham he couldn't get the pass to him. Switch to Joyner. Joyner going crossfield, turns it inside to England. To Ruckley. Ruckley taken by Casey and Ruane. Southernwood. Anderson. Ford up superbly well. And Anderson closely followed by Henderson. In between them they stop that. Kettridge. Kettridge still fighting forward. And finally a lot of red and white. His fifth tackle. Joyner. That'll be a handover for a knock on sixth tackle. Fall round. Sean Allen looks to have hurt something in that last exchange. Neil Clawson. Fall round. Tackled well by his opposite number, Batty. Ford to Casey. Casey into both Cass second rows. Kick coming in from Duncan Platt, making Ruckley and Chapman turn. Back him into the 25. Ruckley feeds Chapman. Chapman taken by Henderson. Knight forward up quickly. Good tackle from Gary Hyde. Marchant juggles. Crowd of the opinion that was forward. Can't say I agree. Tackle from Casey and help from Allen. Murphy, ball comes out in the tackle. Pull around, picks up. Ruane. Long ball to Cogger. Cogger through a gap. And surely John Cogger's in. Indeed he is. Fine long ball from Andy Ruane. Giving John Cogger half a gap to aim at. He accelerated through. Was too fast for Ruckley. The had cast cover, couldn't turn. So about 10 yards in from touch. John Cogger in for his fifth try in only his seventh game for Oldham. After 20 minutes, puts Oldham into a 4-0 lead. Pretty even 20 minutes. And really the first real try-scoring opportunity for either. Interesting to see that both Flanagans, Neil and Terry, are on bottle and sand duty. I believe they both were asked to leave the field early on Friday night in the A-team. Duncan Platt. Moreau says everything. And that's his 37th goal of the season. To put Oldham into a 6-0 lead. And about 19 minutes of this first half to play. Fine acceleration from John Cogger. How on earth he was allowed to stay at Runcorn for so long. Kettridge to kick off, which he does, down towards Steve Robinson. A juggle, an ooh, and he comes up to Batty and Chapman. Allen wraps up on the 25. Mike Ford, Neil Clawson. Just got to by Crabtree. Ford. Cass cover up quickly, opts to go himself. Safety first. Cogger from acting half-back yet again. Good ball to John Henderson. An even better one to John Cogger. Cogger feeds Paul Lord. Lord for the left-hand corner. And Lord's in. Fine rugby. John Cogger's left line on the floor from what one presumes must have been a late tackle, which Gary Hyde doesn't seem very impressed with. The fine ball. John Henderson to John Cogger. The ball out to Paul Lord, and Lord raced away to put Oldham into a 10-0 lead after 22 minutes. England getting a speaking to from the referee. I would have thought that was for the attempted high tackle on John Henderson as he was coming out of his own half rather than anything. I wouldn't have thought he was fast enough to get to Cogger. And it's for left hand upright. So 2 tries in 2 minutes, 1 goal. Put Oldham into a 10-0 lead. Paul Lord's 8th try of the season. Game turned round dramatically in a very short time. Kettridge kicks off yet again, low and hard, down towards Steve Robinson as he did last time. Robinson taken by Batty. Paul round looking for work from his unaccustomed leisurely position of centre. Mike Ford to Neil Clawson. Keith Newton, still in his 25. Andy Ruane from acting half-back makes a few yards up into Keith England. A few more yards I think than England would have liked. Last tackle. Platt checks and cross kicks. Brookley takes. Kicks for Chapman. Keith Newton's got a nice bounce and takes it well. Caswinger Chapman doing well to tackle him there. Leo Casey. Ruane feeds ball round. Early ball to Steve Robinson. Robinson, beautiful ball back to Gary Hyde. Hyde in for a try against his former club. Beautiful pass from Paul Round to Steve Robinson. Robinson between pass back to Gary Hyde between two men. And then a race in from 36-37 yards for Gary Hyde. Many people don't consider him the fastest of centres, but he certainly did plenty enough there to put Oldham into a 14-0 lead after just 26 minutes play. And perhaps this says something about Castleford spirits, but three of them, Beardmore, Chapman, I think it's Batty, have not gone back under the post. They stood at halfway. Come off the field at halfway rather than under the post. Duncan Platt builds his own sandcastle and then discovers there's no ball. In his last 6 minutes, I'm not quite sure Cass can believe what's hit them. Duncan Platt left-footed, makes no mistake with that one. Going to a 16-0 lead. Kettridge to kick off yet again, which he does. This time Sean Allen plays it off his feet. Referee judges that one to be offside. Kettridge wastes no time in putting the ball to touch. Sean Allen a bit unlucky with the bounce. England leads with his head. Beardmore taken by Allen under the post. Southernwood, Joyner knocked down by Oldham, so that'll be 6 more. Beardmore to Kettridge. Kettridge well taken by the Oldham props. Southernwood wants to go himself with a lot of men outside him in not much room. Joyner dragged down a couple of yards short. Crabtree, and Crabtree's in under the post. After a quiet start, this game certainly woke up. So after 29 minutes, the score becomes Oldham 16, Castleford 4. Sean Allen unlucky with the kick-off. He went too far forward off him and ended up with a penalty, which one would expect Kettridge to make full advantage of, to make the score 16-6. Which indeed he does. I think really one was always expecting it to be quite a high scoring game, but after the first 20 minutes looked like a lot of the pundits were going to be wrong. Duncan Platt to kick off. We've played 30 minutes of his first half. Kicks off long, taken by Ruckley. It goes down to Ruane. Chapman from acting half-back into Allen. England. Joiner directing operations, Murphy. Good tackle from Leo Casey. Referee not interested in holding the game up for an injury. Castleford quickly on with it, Ruckley kicking for Paul Lord, shoots off the ground. It's taken by quickly advancing Gibson. Gary Hyde pushes off Southernwood and tries to go through Joiner. That'll be a penalty for England, holding him down. As Murphy gets back to his feet, Platt kicking for the far touchline. Finds touch on halfway. Oldham on with it quickly. Double run round, got a little bit lost there. Andy Ruane mad with himself. An early kick for Marchant. Ford races back. Marchant pulled down. And Castleford in their haste managed to throw a good scoring opportunity away by knocking on. Good kick from Castleford standoff Anderson. Bounce. Taking it away from Paul Lord and Mike Ford. Tony Marchant nearly making the line. And he'll do well to get out of that, will Paul Lord. Indeed he doesn't. So it'll be a drop out under the post. Castleford exerting pressure, really for the concerted pressure for the first time in the match. Duncan Platt, I think, being told to hurry up by the referee. And away he goes to Ruckley. Taken by Casey. Gibson. Cogger and Clawson equal to the challenge at that occasion. Beardmore getting a little bit lost in there. Joiner checks, give it back to Gibson, who suddenly finds Allen stood in his way. England dragged down by Keith Newton. Fifth tackle, Joiner to Gibson. And Gibson gets the ball out to Marchant, who gets in at the corner. Now to clearly indicated by the referee how the pass got there, out of the back of Gibson's hand to Marchant. So Cass coming back into this game after 34 minutes. Try from Tony Marchant making the score. Oldham 16, Castleford 10. Kettridge about 2 yards in from touch as Oldham have a team meeting. Right footed from the right touchline, one of the most difficult kicks. But what a fine example of it. That's his 115th goal of the season. (16-12) to Oldham. Cass 16-0. Up, down and dead and buried. Fought their way back. Sure, Oldham want to settle things down by taking another try before half time. Kick taken by Batty. Into Clawson and Allen. Crabtree. Poor play of the ball. To Kettridge. And we're the best of a bad situation. There's a penalty to Oldham for Kettridge. I think pushing John Cogger after the ball. With the wind as it is, I'm surprised if he kicks for goal. Wrong again. Referee Haig and Martin Kettridge still having a discussion. Platt from dead in front, about 45 yards, and he puts it straight between. So after 37 minutes of the first half, Oldham stretch the lead to 18 points to 12, with Duncan Platt's third goal quickly on with it, and it goes dead straight off. John Joyner's not impressed with that one. The Oldham bench all stand and point at the posts. The implication, the team on the field aren't listening though. I'm just keen to get on with it quickly. Ruane rolls away from acting half-back, but only as far as Joyner. Ford. Unable to shake England off. Keith Newton. Andy Ruane. Finds touch about 10 yards out from the cast line into the last couple of minutes of his first half. A heel against the head will be very useful. And you get the feeling from the crowd that we must be on a let's play the spirit of the law day rather than penalising feeding. Mike Ford keeping him tied in. Murphy. Kettridge. Allen goes after the ball. Joyner to Anderson, pursued and taken well by Newton. Fifth tackle. Joyner fools John Cogger from action half-back, finds Anderson and is dragged down. Touch judges in for something. It'll be a penalty to Cass. Wrong again. Penalty to Oldham for obstruction. Ruane pumps the ball into touch. As the first half clock's running out. Leo Casey. Cogger checks. And there's the hooter. Bang on 40 minutes. Oldham leading by 18 points to 12. Race, first 20 minutes, pretty much stalemate. Then in the next 6 minutes, 9 minutes, 6 minutes raced to a 16-0 lead. Cass came back into it with a final score of the half going to a penalty from Duncan Platt. to make the score 18 points to 12 at half-time. Castleford, as I believe they do quite regularly under coach Daryl van der Veer, stay out on the pitch. On a day like this, perhaps that's not a bad idea. Roger Halstead, that newspaper stalwart of the Oldham Chronicle, just received a presentation to commemorate 25 years of reporting Oldham Rugby League for the Oldham Crom. Probably in those times, I would think, seen more games than any other individual. I know he reports them totally unbiasedly. Oldham and the officials come out for the second half to join Castleford, who've been taking the uncharacteristic watershedding sun. Looks like the same 13 Oldham players who went off, and it's the same 13 Cas players certainly, although Tony Marchant's now wearing a shirt with no number. Referee Hay gets the game underway again. Gary Hyde takes his time. Mike Ford, away from England, grabbed by Beardmore, unfortunately loses the ball in the tackle. So it'll be a scrum down Cashead and ball, with Oldham leading by 18 points to 12. Pick any offence you like. Batty finally steps out of Duncan Platt's tackle. It took a long time to do that. Crabtree. England just being slightly shepherded by Martin Kettridge, who looks in shock and horror and disbelief. Kevin Beardmore stands there. That's the first penalty of the second half. Duncan Platt puts the ball to touch in front of us. Ruane. Clausen, taken by Crabtree. Mike Ford feeds John Henderson. John Cogger, taken by his opposing number and captain John Joyner. Ford Spears the ball for the right-hand touchline and gains a well-deserved round of applause for a good kick. Pushing Oldham well upfield, well into the Cas 25. Tries to feed him, but Oldham penalised for offside. Seems the lesser of two evils. Kettridge, high spiral to touch into the Oldham half. Then takes the first drive himself. Taken down by Casey and Clawson. Mike Ford pulls them both out of the way. England up to the defensive line. Batty. John Henderson last to unwind. Southernwood to Crabtree. Oh, we've been told it's Crabtree, but listening to some of the Cas crowd, the numbers could be the wrong way. Joyner to Anderson. Forced back well in the tackle. I think the crowd saw it the opposite way and the touch judges come on. Rounds of the opinion he was being held down when he was trying to get away. The touch judges certainly have his say to the referee. The touch judge, who presumably had a clearer view than the ref. I think John Joyner's probably saying, I didn't know you were allowed to change decisions, sir. Platt. Should have been playing 4 minutes. 3 penalties, 2 to Oldham, 1 to Cas. And Cas nowhere near back near the 10-yard line. Leo Casey with room to stretch his legs. Taken by who we're calling Crabtree. And Joyner. Ford to Newton. Switch to Ford, to Henderson, to Round. Looks to give it back, but he's surrounded by yellow shirts. Fights the ball loose. Steve Robinson. Robinson dragged down just outside the 25. Ford switches to Clawson. Goes away from England. Offloads to Robinson, who's tackled and just stays in play. Kick coming up as Oldham come very flat. Andy Ruane hoists, but it goes too far forward and straight into the crowd. So it'll be a tap 25. I mean, cast the ball back again. Batty. Kettridge. Casey first in with the stopping tackle. Batty tied up well by Mike Ford. Beardmore from acting half-back. Feeds Murphy. Kick from Southernwood. Steve Robinson and Duncan Platt stand and look at each other. Ball bounces slowly into touch. Scums come down. Mike Ford picks up, and John Joyner from an interesting position tackles him straight away. Steve Robinson in off his wing. Caught by Murphy. Duncan Platt over the 25. Ford. To Leo Casey. John Henderson racing to get with him. Casey opts to kick. When it doesn't stand up, it goes over the try line and over the dead ball line. England cutting off a route, making it impossible for Casey to get the ball inside to Henderson, who was with him, using some of his footballing skills from his youth. Kettridge links to Beardmore. To Chapman. Fine run from Beardmore. Winning cast back on the attack. Looked like an offside in there. Ball ends up in Sean Allen's hands. Neil Clawson over halfway. The whole of the Castleford side, I think, on the left-hand side of the ref, penalised for offside. Chance to calm things down a bit. Platt to touch about 3-4 yards into the cast quarter. Ruane with the tap. Feeds Casey. Casey taken down by Batty. And England. Clawson with a second drive. Forced back. Casey again. Newton arriving too early. John Cogger saying put it out. Instead it goes to Sean Allen. Allen stopped on the line. Wayne forces his way to action half-back. Dummies to pass. Just fails to get over himself on fifth tackle. Mike Ford kicks. And Duncan Platt's in. Fine kick from Mike Ford. Putting Oldham into a 22 points to 12 lead. To 9 minutes of the second half. Duncan Platt in for his fourth try of the season. Fine little kick, well-judged kick from Michael Ford. Behind the fast approaching Cass defence. On last tackle coming up. I mean Duncan Platt. A long time. Kicks for goal himself. To push the score to Oldham 24, Castleford 12. Personal tally of 12 points so far. Which means he scored 96 points on the season. Castleford warming up. I'm going to bring on both subs. Number 15, Terry McAllister, on his debut. And number 14. Kick off to Platt. Was taken by Crabtree. Hyde going crossfield. Cogger. Mike Ford. Keith Newton. Spins, looks to put the ball out, but unable to do so. Mike Ford. Taken high and very late by John Joyner. Most uncharacteristic. In fact, shows the frustration that's creeping into the Castleford team over the last few weeks. The referee stops the clock. And as I say, a most uncharacteristic move from John Joyner. And not surprisingly, I think largely because of who it was, that just ends up as a penalty to Oldham. Platt puts the ball to touch. Mike Ford back on his feet, fully restored. Mike indeed calling the moves. Neil Clawson. Leo Casey. Mike Ford. There's a gap. He feeds John Henderson. John Henderson pulled down just short, quickly plays it. Andy Ruane, I think it was, going for the line. Sean Allen picks the ball out of nowhere, gives it to Ford. Platt to Newton, to Hyde, to Paul Lord, just unable to hold it. That'll be a... I'd have thought that would have been a tap 25. But it's not, it's a scrum down to Cass. And a heel against the head from Ruane. Referee judges that one to have wheeled. Just looks to collapse, perhaps. Wheeled, I wouldn't have thought so. Sun's gone in. And certainly no way that was going to come out. Ends up a penalty against Mike Ford, I think, for being round the scrum too quickly. Cass put the ball to touch. Gary Hyde giving great encouragement to his team. I would think of any game he'd like to win. This one more than others at the moment. Kettridge straight into both Oldham's props and wrestled down by Clawson. Southernwood to Thornton. McAllister. Southernwood looking to kick. Well taken by Mike Ford and John Cogger. Cross kick down to Paul Lord. Judges perfectly. Away from England. Straightens up. It's like Gary Hyde on the first run. As the Cass defence up tremendously quickly. Leo Casey. Mike Ford. Chips. And this time he's shouldered down by Keith England. Which seemed totally unnecessary, as Joyner had got the ball well covered. In fact, Joyner checks from Kettridge just what happened that time. I think Duncan Platt's going to kick at goal. "16 minutes of the second half gone. Oldham leading by 24 points to 12. Duncan Platt already kicked 4 goals from 5 attempts and scored a try. Mike Ford receiving treatment. They're certainly causing Castleford lots of problems. Left-footed from Platt. Pushes it past the left-hand post. So it'll be a drop out from a 25. Into the wind. Batty to take the drop out. Puts it into a gap. Paul Lord shouted forward. Takes it on one bounce. Wrapped up by Anderson and McAllister. Dummy from Gary Hyde. Ford coming round Henderson. Good tackle from Cass substitute Thornton. Ford drilling the ball for the right hand touchline. Chapman just keeps it in play. Referee says he dropped it backwards. Joyner to England. England taken down by Cogger. Joyner trying to get something going. Keith Newton perhaps looking to get a bit of recompense for the earlier foul by Joyner on Mike Ford. Ends up with Andy Ruane on the floor and receiving treatment. Disgustingly bad kick. Fielded very easily by Platt. Links to Newton. Was taken down by Crabtree as Ruane continues to receive treatment. Cogger from acting halfback. And Cogger breaks through. Cogger throws a very loose pass away and ends up lying on the floor injured. Chapman. McAllister. Wraps up by Ford and Allen. Kettridge running wide. And finally dragged down by a number of Oldham players. England to Southernwood. Anderson taken on the 25 by Ford on fifth tackle. Kick coming in. Paul Lord pats it backwards and picks up well. Accelerates through. And the old adage of run at the referee is of a hope he'll get out of the way. Ruane to Casey. Casey taken by McAllister, Marchant and Beardmore. Mike Ford offloads to Clawson. And yet another high tackle. I think that'll be 10 minutes for somebody. And if it's on Clawson, it is high. 10 minutes for John Joyner. Halfway through this second half. Oldham leading 24 points to 12. Simbin have now, of course, at the dugout. John Joyner, one of the most mild-mannered, pleasant men you could ever wish to meet. In fact, looks like they're bringing Tony Barra bringing Trevor Croston out of the dugout. Andy Ruane saying forget it. Tony Barra saying come off. Duncan Platt puts the ball to touch. And word goes to the dugout what's going off. Leo Casey for the line. One-handed out. I think that'll be in Cass' hands. Tackle from Neil Clausen. England. Anywhere out the back of his hand. Taken by Thornton. Trevor Croston still warming up. It's Martin Kettridge. Tackle well by England. That's fifth tackle. Kick coming in from Southernwood. Taken well by Steve Robinson. It's caught by Chris Chapman. Sean Allen. Ford to Newton. Leo Casey. One-handed to Paul Lord. Lord going outside. And Paul Lord's in. And takes the ball halfway to the post. Superb pass from Leo Casey as he receives congratulations on halfway from John Cogger and Mike Ford. Paul Lord in for his second try of the game, his 9th try of the season. So after 24 minutes of his second half, Oldham stretch the lead to 28 points to 12. Superb. Passing the tackle from Leo Casey. Superbly taken by Paul Lord, who then ran the Castleford defence. And more than that, got halfway to the post. Duncan Platt left-footed, pushes it past the left-hand upright. Indeed, Neil Clausen's gone off and being replaced by Trevor Croston. So Martin Kettridge ready to kick off yet again for Castleford. Castleford down to 12 players at the moment, with just about 15 minutes of his half left. Gary Hyde picks up. Taken by Marchant and Thornton. Keith Newton from acting halfback. Ford. Trevor Croston. Loses a ball on first contact. Crabtree. Switch to Keith England. Good tackle, first tackle for the match from Trevor Croston. Southernwood. Out to McAllister. So many players on their first team debut this season seem to have scored tries against Oldham. Southernwood to Anderson. Superb tackle from Leo Casey. That's the fifth one. Southernwood kicking. And Steve Robinson keeps his feet off it. And it bounces over the dead ball line. So with about 13 minutes left, it's a tap 25 to Oldham, leading by 28 points to 12. Robinson keen to take the tap. Ford. Thornton and Crabtree try to split him in half. John Henderson dummies. Taken by Kettridge. Pull round. Almost think he's getting money for old rope today. Stood out in the centre. Ford to Allen. Ruane. Kicking towards the left-hand touchline. Forcing Gibson now playing at full-back to turn. He picks up. Taken by Hyde and Lord. Marchant. England. Kettridge well tackled by Casey. Casey having a fine game. Suddenly everything gets lost again for Castleford. Anderson, who scored some 22 tries this season, really nowhere to go. Beardmore. Ford picks up. Caught by Thornton. Ruane going from acting half-back, switches to pull round. Round. Back to Ruane. To Henderson. Allen. Allen wraps up. Ball out to Henderson again. Henderson. John Henderson very nearly breaking free. Allen attacked in half-back, feeds Platt. Platt. Trying to get the ball away to Paul Lord, who goes to acting half-back. John Henderson, Trevor Croston, unable to take the ball one-handed as he was looked to be trying to do. So it ends up in Cass' hands again. Southernwood, tied up by Ford and Croston. Once upon a time that had been play on, and in these days of a knock on each way, we try again. Keith Newton propping. Paul Lord looking dangerously close to being offside at this scrum. I think the referee penalised him for feeding. I think foot up would have been better from this angle. I often wonder what scrum halves are supposed to do when there's no tunnel. Joyner waiting to come back on as Marchant attacks us up here and puts the ball to touch. Castleford 28-12 down. England to Marchant. Links to Anderson. Fine tackle on the 25 from Duncan Platt. Suddenly Castleford come to life. Southernwood finally pulled down. Anderson inside to Gibson. Back to England. I don't think Leo will go the length of the field, but Paul Lord might. Finds Mike Ford. Gary Hyde racing to get with him. Fine tackle from John Cogger from acting half-back. Can he run the winger? Chapman gets him. And will be interesting to see. And a try is given. Chapman over from Castleford's left wing. Unable to stop. Cogger touching down. Beardmore appeals in vain. John Cogger scoring his second try of the game. His sixth of the season that's only 7 games old, or nearly 7 games old. In fact, John Cogger's going off and Ian Bates is coming on. 31 minutes of his second half gone. Oldham take a 32 points to 12. One would presume winning lead. As Cogger goes off to a mighty round of applause. And a fine kick off a touchline from Duncan Platt. And my reckoning, that takes him to 98 points for the season. And knowing my mathematics, that's probably wrong. Oldham lead by 34 points to 12. Quick kick off. Taken by Gibson, Fields himself. Fields Joyner. Batty. Kettridge, taken by Ruane and Ian Bates, on to replace John Cogger. It'll be interesting to see how they line up. Crabtree loses the ball in the tackle. Leo Casey looks to avert his back in there. Bates feeds forward, long pass. Finally, the referee gives a knock on as Paul Lord, whether intentionally or otherwise, got the ball back inside as he looked to be going out to play. Not surprisingly, man of the match today, Oldham's man of the match today, chosen, given to Leo Casey. Marchant. Pulled down by Croston as the Oldham backs have been caught offside at a scrum. Joyner to Southernwood. On to Anderson. Who's in for a try to make the score a bit more respectable. To Castleford. It's his 23rd try of the season. Kettridge kicks his third goal of the game. (34-18). Just about 5 minutes left. Platt down to McAllister. Well tackled by Gary Hyde. Thornton wraps up. A lot of penalties going Cass's way in these last few minutes. Well, that's interesting. Either Batesy was offside or there was no mark. He was marking him, in which case he shouldn't have played it to himself. England gets the ball out what looks suspiciously forward from here, and by the sound of the crowd from the other side as well. Joyner brings Batty inside. England. Good copybook tackle from Paul Round. Fifth tackle. Kick coming in from Southernwood. Out towards Steve Robinson's wing. What a... Got the cruelest of cruel bouncers there. Oh, it'll be a scrum down. Castleford head and ball. Ball round now into the forwards. Mike Ford to stand off. Comes out to Ian Bates. Beats Mike Ford. Duncan Platt. John Henderson with a bit of room to move in. Certainly no love loss between John Joyner and Mike Ford. And Sean Allen plays on. I think we'll... And it's been threatening to do this for some time, really. The interesting thing is, like the touch judge on this side is on pursuit from the punch thrown by John Joyner at Mike Ford. And he said, no, referee, I think you've got it the wrong way around. You'll be going back there. Because he must go back to the first offence. Which means that one went on afterwards, as far as penalties and things are concerned, a nil. The referee rejects that one. And gives what is probably a very good penalty, as he said, perhaps he saw John Joyner. And this, on my reckoning, if Duncan Platt kicks this with about a minute and a half left, this will put up his 100 points for the season. This is its 14th game. Platt. Left-footed, and he's pushed another one past the post. So it'll be a dropout with about a minute left. Oldham leading by 34 points to 18. 25-yard dropout. Kettridge. Down to Duncan Platt. Picks up well, Mike Ford looks to come with him. Trevor Croston. Ian Bates, pull around. Leo Casey. Ian Bates just not close enough. 40 minutes up on my watch. Oldham still striving to go forward and score more, in the hope that Bradford have lost today. That's fifth tackle. Ruane kicking. Ball Lord chasers. And it was never intended for a chase of that, it was for touch. In and out to Cass. Good tackle from Duncan Platt on Gibson, who's playing full back at the moment. McAllister. Pulled down on the 25. England, who's worked very hard for Castleford all match. And there indeed is the hooter and the final whistle. Oldham winning by 34 points to 18. 2 tries each to Paul Lord and John Cogger. Five goals. 6 goals. Sorry, 5 goals and a try to Duncan Platt. Oldham 38. Castleford 12. Really a rather disappointing Castleford team. Gunnar Lager Lancashire Cup before a packed, expectant crowd who have had good entertainment, pre-match from Oldham under-13s in their Lancashire Cup semi-final, beating Wigan in a pulsating game by 14 points to 8 and hoping for their professional